You're going to see it replicated right across these flood areas. Barnaby Joyce made the point, of course, from Gympie down to Sydney. Well, it's even higher than Gympie because they had it in Maryborough as well. So a huge stretch of Australia.
Let's take a broader look across New South Wales. Let's bring in the Deputy Commissioner of the New South Wales SES, Daniel Austin, joining us now. Thanks for your time this morning. Perhaps you could start, if you can, by giving us an update on those areas of Sydney where evacuation orders are in place. What's happening there now?
Yeah, good morning. So pretty much all the low-lying communities along the Hawkesbury River, the Nepean River and a number of other smaller catchments have all received some level of warning to suggest that they need to move. They started that process yesterday. We've started to see the river levels rise now. Over 60 evacuation warnings and over 20 evacuation orders current for New South Wales at this point in time.
And so is that where your resources are now being focused? Can you tell us what sort of resources you are able to put in there?
Yeah, so we obviously continue to have ongoing operations up in the North Coast, and that will continue for days and weeks to come yet. But we have got now another focus of operations, which is obviously the Sydney metropolitan area, the Hunter region up into the bottom of the mid-North Coast and still down towards the Illawarra. So a vast expanse of operational activity. We have a significant amount of resources spread across the state, and not only SES volunteers and resources, but also our other emergency services partners and the Australian Defence Force are all part of this operation.
And are people generally following these evacuation orders, particularly in Sydney at the moment, or is there any reluctance, any hesitancy?
Look, from the information that I've got at the moment, there seems to be some pretty good compliance with our requests. People are moving. There are evacuation centres being set up, but a lot of people are going straight to families or friends or other alternatives that they may have. But vastly, we've been pretty comfortable with the state of move that the community has done. We have been talking about this, if you remember, for quite a number of days now. So people have been preparing. We've seen people getting sandbags and other such things for a number of days. So, and we can see this morning that there's certainly a lot lighter traffic on the roads than perhaps a normal Sydney morning.
And look, just finally, back to Lismore and the smaller communities there in northern New South Wales around Lismore. And excuse my ignorance if this is beyond the remit of the SES, but we've been hearing reports this morning of the lack of basics, fuel, water, food and so on in some of these towns that have been cut off. Is there a role for the SES there at all in helping in getting some of those supplies in?
Yeah, absolutely, and we are working to get those supplies in. One of the biggest challenges for us was that the M1, the Pacific Highway, was actually closed. So, that's now late yesterday reopened to essential traffic only. It is exceptionally limited at this stage because there are issues with that piece of highway, but we are certainly working to get as many additional resources and supplementary resources back in, such as fuel and essential services of food and those kind of things.
So how can you get the
That'll
food?
be an ongoing job for some time.
If the road access is a problem, is there aerial access to get food and water in?
Yeah, so we have a number of aviation assets that we're able to lift things with, including a rather large Chinook helicopter that can do significant amount of work, and we'll continue to work with the companies and producers that need to get resources in to make sure that we can get things as quickly as possible. But it is going to take time. These things don't happen really, really quickly.
All right, SES Deputy Commissioner Daniel Austin, thanks so much for the update.
Thank you.